Have you ever felt like something's off in your relationship, but you're unable to put your finger on it? Maybe it's that subtle shift in her behavior, those longer stretches of time she spends away, or that uneasy feeling in your gut that just won't seem to fade. If you've ever wondered whether your partner might be seeing someone else, this video is for you. It's time to get clarity, face the truth, and understand the signs that could confirm your suspicions. Picture this. You've been together for years. Everything seems great, or so you thought. But suddenly, things start to feel different. She's working late more often, hanging out with friends she's never mentioned before, and her schedule seems packed. But then, you notice something unsettling. While she's in the shower, her phone blinks on the table, and that nagging sense of discomfort takes over. Is it just work, or is there something else going on? Is there someone else in the picture? If you're struggling with these doubts, you're not alone. Today, we're diving into the most telling signs that your partner might be cheating on you, backed by studies and expert insights. Sometimes what feels like a small suspicion could have a much deeper meaning. Let's explore the subtle red flags that could be slipping right by you and why it's so important to pay attention to them before it's too late. Before we dive in, if this is your first time here, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on the crucial topics we're about to uncover. Trust me, you won't want to miss any of the insights that could change the way you see your relationships. Let's start with one of the clearest signs: longer absences. Have you noticed that she's suddenly spending more time away from home? Extra hours at work, surprise outings with friends she never mentioned, or spontaneous business trips she never brought up before? It feels strange, doesn't it? At first you might brush it off as coincidence, but this is rarely the case. When someone starts disappearing for no apparent reason, it's a red flag. Here's the thing, if she's pulling away, there's a reason. Maybe she's trying to carve out space to be with someone else. Pay attention to the excuses she's giving. I had a late meeting, or I have to work through the weekend, might sound innocent, but repeated without solid explanations. That's when it starts to feel off. And here's a little test you can try. Show up unannounced to her work or one of those meetings. If she becomes defensive, avoids you, or seems anxious about your visit, there's a reason. Why would she react that way if there was nothing to hide? The truth is, when she's balancing two lives, it's hard for her to manage time between you and the other person. That's why she might start canceling plans with you, and even when she does show up, her mind isn't fully present. If your regular date nights, those cozy weekends together, or even those quiet moments at home are disappearing, it's likely because her attention is elsewhere. If her absences are becoming more frequent and her excuses more elaborate, it's time to start questioning what's really going on. Another major warning sign is emotional and physical distance. If she's emotionally involved with someone else, one of the first things you'll notice is a shift in the way she interacts with you. The intimate conversations, the shared laughs, the physical closeness you once enjoyed, they all start to fade. You might notice that she's no longer as affectionate as she used to be. Those little hugs, the spontaneous touches, and the sweet gestures, they're no longer there. Sex, once a regular part of your connection, might become something that feels distant, almost like a forgotten memory. This isn't just a phase or a temporary dip in intimacy. When someone is emotionally invested in another person, they begin to withdraw from their partner. The physical distance grows, but the emotional distance is even more telling. Conversations that used to run deep, where you shared your dreams, your frustrations, and your daily lives, become shallow and brief. When you ask her about her day, you get monosyllabic answers, or worse, She deflects and avoids any real connection. It's as if a wall suddenly appears between you, and that wall often signals guilt. She knows she's hiding something, and it's easier to keep you at arm's length than to risk letting you in. So, if you're seeing these changes, longer absences without clear explanations, emotional detachment, and a lack of physical intimacy, there's a strong chance that something deeper is happening. Don't ignore these signs. They could be the key to understanding what's really going on in your relationship. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Sharing this with others can help them avoid the same heartbreak and confusion. And subscribing ensures you'll never miss out on more insightful advice that could save your relationship. Take control of your relationship's future. Let's uncover the truth together. Have you noticed that your partner seems to be pulling away from you lately? She no longer wants to watch movies together like you used to, and she keeps making excuses to avoid spending quality time alone with you. Maybe she's going to bed earlier or finding new ways to stay busy. Anything to avoid being present with you. These are all warning signs that something is amiss, and the emotional and physical distance she's creating is often a direct indicator that she might be emotionally invested in someone else. Cheating isn't just about what happens when you're not around. It's about how everything changes when you are together. If she's no longer interested in connecting with you emotionally or physically, it's likely because she's getting that attention and connection from someone else. Relationships thrive on intimacy, trust, and shared moments. So when these disappear, it's not just a fleeting phase, it's a red flag you can't ignore. If you find yourself trying to reach her, but she's always too busy or distracted, this distance is telling you more than you might think. Pay attention, because distance doesn't just appear out of nowhere. There's always a reason behind it, and it's often a sign that someone else is filling the space you once shared. Another crucial warning sign is if she becomes obsessed with her phone. Have you noticed that she's suddenly acting secretive around it? Maybe she used to leave her phone on the table without a care in the world, but now she takes it with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. Or perhaps, when she does leave it out, it's always face down, or worse, locked. Has she become defensive when you ask her about it? If you've tried to touch her phone, and she immediately comes up with an excuse or shuts down, that's a huge red flag. The phone is one of the most powerful tools in today's relationships, both for communication and for keeping secrets. If she's constantly checking her phone, smiling at something she reads, but refusing to share what it is, or sneaking off to respond to messages, it's likely she's hiding something. These are not just innocent habits, they are signs of something deeper. Additionally, check her social media. Has she started blocking you from viewing certain posts or stories? Are there new followers, strange comments, or conversations that seem off? Social media can be a hiding place for secret relationships, and her behavior might reveal more than you think. If her phone has become completely off limits, ask yourself, what is it that she's trying to keep from you? Now, pay close attention if you notice a new glow in her behavior. Has she suddenly become more cheerful, more upbeat, even when things aren't going well between you two? This new source of joy seems to come from nowhere, and it doesn't seem to be related to anything you're experiencing together. When someone finds excitement in a new relationship or affair, it's common for them to radiate positive energy that wasn't there before. She may be more energetic, smile more, take extra care when getting dressed, or even hum as she goes about her day. While it's great to see her happy, if this sudden shift in mood doesn't align with the state of your relationship, it's worth questioning where this happiness is coming from. Is it related to a new source of excitement outside of your relationship? If this glow appears during a time when you should be discussing relationship problems or addressing issues, it could be a sign that someone else is making her feel special and alive. This emotional boost could be coming from the thrill of a new, secret connection, something you're not a part of. But that's clearly occupying her thoughts and emotions. Don't ignore this behavior. A sudden, unexplained happiness is often the first hint of something much bigger happening behind closed doors. If you've made it this far in the video and are finding these signs eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Sharing this video could help someone you care about recognize these red flags early on, and subscribing ensures you never miss the critical insights we're exploring together. I promise the most important advice is yet to come, and you'll want to hear it. Stay tuned, because this could change the way you approach your relationships. Also, I'd love to know, where are you watching from today? Let's dive back in. Finally, change in scent. It may sound unusual, but it's one of the most overlooked signs that something is amiss in a relationship. The scent of someone can reveal a lot about where they've been and who they've been with. Has your partner suddenly started wearing a new perfume, one you've never smelled before? If she's hesitant or gives vague answers when you ask about it, that could be a sign she's trying to impress someone else. Scent is personal, and a new fragrance can indicate that she's been spending time with someone new, someone who's catching her attention. If you notice a change in her scent, it might be time to ask yourself, where has she been and with whom? Relationships are built on trust, and recognizing these signs early on could be the key to protecting your heart. Keep watching, keep learning, and stay tuned for the final piece of advice that could shift your entire perspective on the situation. Have you ever noticed a sudden shift in your partner's scent, especially after she comes back from somewhere? It could be a seemingly harmless change, a new perfume you don't recognize, or an explanation that she was at a meeting or gave someone a hug. But if this change becomes frequent, it's time to start paying attention. This isn't just about the fragrance she's wearing. If she starts rushing to the shower the moment she comes home or changes her clothes immediately, she might be trying to erase any trace of where she's been or who she's been with. Body odor is another subtle yet telling clue. If you notice a shift in her scent, whether it's a different smell on her skin or a new essence you can't quite place, it's not just your imagination. A person's body chemistry changes when they've been close to someone else, whether it's from a simple hug or something more intimate. Our senses are incredibly attuned to changes, and studies show that people are far more sensitive to subtle shifts in the scent of their loved ones than we might think. If something smells off and there's no logical explanation, trust your intuition. That new smell, it might not be as innocent as it seems. Now, let's talk about social media, one of the modern-day arenas where infidelity often starts to surface. Have you noticed her becoming more active on social platforms lately? She might be posting more suggestive photos, paying extra attention to new followers, or commenting on certain posts with more personal messages than before. Maybe she was never really into social media, but now she's constantly checking her notifications, hiding her activity, or replying to messages that she used to ignore. A key red flag is when she starts interacting with someone specific, liking their posts constantly, exchanging inside jokes, or sharing comments that feel a little too intimate for a casual connection. If you notice her deleting or hiding these interactions, you're looking at a clear attempt to keep something hidden. Even more concerning is when she restricts your access to her social media, blocking you from certain posts or stories without a reasonable explanation. If she's suddenly sharing more with others and keeping you out of the loop, that's no coincidence. If you confront her about it and she gets defensive, claiming it's no big deal, don't ignore that response. It's time to open the conversation. Pay attention to how often she keeps her phone close by, especially if it's at odd hours, or if she's chatting more than usual and gets irritated when you ask who she's talking to. Social media can be the perfect hiding spot for a secret relationship, and these subtle changes could be revealing much more than you realize. Another shift you might notice is a change in language. Have you caught her using new phrases, words, or expressions that you've never heard from her before? This change in speech can be one of the clearest signs that someone new has started to influence her. When people become close to others, especially in an emotional or intimate way, they naturally start adopting the language, tone, and expressions of the people they spend time with. If she starts using new terms that weren't part of her vocabulary before, perhaps references, inside jokes, or phrases you don't quite understand, there's a good chance someone else is affecting the way she speaks. These shifts might seem small, but they often signal a bigger shift in her emotional connections. If you used to share certain inside jokes or affectionate words, but now her tone has become colder or more distant, something's changed. It's not just the words she uses. It's the emotional distance they can represent. If you feel like someone else is influencing how she expresses herself, it's worth investigating. Lastly, have you noticed her picking up new hobbies that seem to come out of nowhere? Perhaps she's suddenly obsessed with yoga, hiking, or taking up cooking classes, activities she had no interest in before. While it's perfectly normal to develop new interests, what you should be looking for is whether these hobbies appear without any real explanation. Did she suddenly discover yoga, or is she spending a lot of time on it because someone else has introduced her to it? It's one thing if she decides on her own to try something new, but if these activities seem to be tied to someone else, maybe someone she's spending more time with, it's a sign to take seriously. Even more suspicious is when she starts dedicating an excessive amount of time to these new hobbies, to the point where it's replacing activities you once enjoyed together. Maybe you used to share weekends, but now she's always out doing something on her own. If you ask to join in or show interest, and she responds with evasions or excuses to keep you away, it's clear she might be using these hobbies as an excuse to connect with someone else. New hobbies aren't just about exploring new passions. They can sometimes be a way to deepen a bond with someone else, someone she doesn't want you to know about. If you're finding this video valuable and feel like you're gaining insights that could make a difference in your life, please hit like, share, and subscribe. By doing so, you'll be supporting this content, and you'll be the first to know when we share more powerful tips that can help you navigate your relationships with confidence. Stick around, because I have more to reveal, and you won't want to miss it. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to hear your thoughts. These subtle signs, whether it's a new scent, a change in language, or mysterious activities, can be the key to uncovering the truth. Stay aware, stay connected, and remember, the little changes are often the loudest indicators of a much bigger picture. Have you noticed that lately, she's stopped sharing the little things? You used to talk about everything, the fears, the dreams, the moments that made you both laugh, even the smallest details about your day. You shared it all, and it made you feel connected, close. But now, it's like those deep conversations have slowly faded into the background. She no longer opens up about her struggles, her concerns, or her thoughts. What once felt like an open and honest relationship now seems shallow, distant, and emotionally disconnected. This shift doesn't happen all at once. It's gradual, almost unnoticeable at first. But when a woman starts to emotionally detach from her partner, this is often one of the first signs. She might still be physically present, but her emotional space is no longer reserved for you. When she begins to open up to someone else, especially emotionally, the need to confide in her partner diminishes. You might start to feel like you're on the outside, unable to truly understand what's going on in her mind or how she's feeling. This emotional wall she's building is a telltale sign that someone else might be the recipient of her trust, her secrets, and her vulnerability. And what about when you try to ask her about it? When you ask, "What's wrong?" or "Why have you been so quiet lately?" If her responses are vague, "I'm fine," or "Nothing's wrong," it's as if she's keeping something from you, something she's not ready to share. This evasiveness isn't just a lack of communication, it's a reflection of a shift in the dynamics of your relationship. Healthy, strong relationships thrive on emotional sharing, on honest, heart-to-heart conversations. When that part of your connection starts to fade, it's a sign that something significant is changing beneath the surface. Don't ignore it. If she's no longer sharing the intimate details of her life with you, there's a good chance she's found someone else to confide in, someone who's slowly becoming her emotional anchor. Now, let's move to another powerful clue: the disappearance of couple plans. If your once cherished plans together, dinners, weekend trips, or even quiet nights at home, are becoming rare, it's time to ask yourself, what's going on? Suddenly, she's always busy, always occupied with things that don't include you. When you suggest doing something together, and she comes up with vague excuses, or worse, when she prefers to make plans on her own, it's a red flag. What's even more alarming is when activities that were once sacred, like celebrating anniversaries or just going for a dinner date, are pushed aside or completely forgotten. If she's no longer eager to share special moments with you, it might be because she's investing her time and energy elsewhere, with someone else. Another sign to watch for is when she starts opting for time alone or with her friends instead of with you. Maybe she would have invited you before, but now she avoids it, choosing to spend time with others, perhaps even leaving you out of the loop. This is more than just her needing space. It's a reflection of a growing emotional gap between you. The absence of couple plans is a glaring sign that the relationship is losing that connection that once made it strong. When someone no longer wants to make time for you, it's often because they're making time for someone else. Trust and connection are the bedrock of any relationship. These signs, whether it's the disappearance of deep conversations, the fading of couple plans, or the emotional distance, shouldn't be ignored. But here's the important thing. Just because you notice these signs, it doesn't mean you should immediately jump to conclusions. What might feel like a loss of connection could be a wake-up call for you to reflect on the state of your relationship. And though discovering the truth can be painful, it's also an opportunity for growth, for clarity, and for making decisions that move you toward a more authentic and fulfilling life. If you're watching this video and feeling like these insights resonate with you, like, share, and subscribe. This is the kind of content you don't want to miss. By hitting that subscribe button, you're not only supporting the channel, but you're also gaining access to even more wisdom that can help you navigate life and relationships with clarity and confidence. And trust me, you'll want to stay tuned for the upcoming videos. We're going to explore even more ways to deepen your understanding of relationships and personal growth. Remember, It's about more than just the signs themselves. It's about understanding what they mean, how they can lead you to a deeper connection, and how you can take the right steps to protect your emotional well-being. So, don't leave without hitting like. Share this video with someone who might need to hear these words today, and subscribe to continue this journey with us. Your growth is important, and I'm here to guide you through it. Thank you for watching, and if you've made it to the end of this video, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment saying, "I value wisdom," and tell me where you're tuning in from. Let's create a space for growth, honesty, and real connection. Because when we look within ourselves and nurture our relationships, everything in life becomes richer and more meaningful. See you in the next video.